I'm back. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be back. It's been about 4 months now. Do you notice anything different? Yes, the mohawk is blue instead of pink. Which do you like better? I'm not sure. I needed a change, but I'm kind of missing the pink just a little bit. Although I do like the blue. So let me know which one you like better. But yeah, it's been about 4 months. Broke this bone here in my hand. I fell when I was at an event, and I didn't just fracture it, I like broke it in two. And don't tell anyone, but I'm not exactly 18 anymore. So it took a while for it to heal up. Um, it still looks wonky. It has a big knot in it, and it still hurts. And those things will probably never change. But at least it is healed up enough that I'm back to working full time, which means I'm back to making YouTube videos. Yay! Excited. I'm excited to get back into it. My plan is to upload a full length video every 2 weeks, and then on the off week from that, upload a short. That is my my planned schedule for right now, and that will be on Wednesdays. Today, we're gonna take a look at these little beauties. Oh, I love these earrings so much. I think this is my favorite collection that I've ever made, like ever. I love these. Come on, and I want to show you how I made these. We're going to start this collection out with some black and white extrusions. I'm using a medium round die, and I'm just extruding some round snakes in the black and the white. I had to grab the silicone pot holder there because the extruder was just spinning in my hand. You have to make sure that your clay is like really warm and soft when you use an extruder. And I thought mine was, but apparently it wasn't. And so the extruder was just spinning in my hand. So if you ever have that issue, just grab something that will help you hold on to it, and that will help. You know, just anything that will help you to get a grip on it so it doesn't spin as bad. This was nowhere near enough clay. I had to fill the extruder up probably 2 or 3 more times with each color. Now I'm starting out with my black backing sheet, which I tried very hard to square up to start with, so that, you know, my thinking was it would make the strings easier to apply them and get them straight. But if you're doing something like this, you've got to make sure that especially your first 2 or 3 stripes are like really straight, because if they're off, it will throw the whole thing off. So I'm using a straight edge tool here. This is a lucite tool from Tiny Pandora. I believe it's from the Easy Cuffs kit, but it really doesn't matter, just as long as it's something straight. A metal ruler, you know, a long thin stamping block, just anything that's straight. The black was transferring very badly to my fingers. Black and red are usually the worst at transferring, and so if you're working with black and white or red and white, of course everything is going to show up on the white. So I was just having to constantly clean my fingers. Like after every black stripe, I had to clean my fingers. And I still transferred it onto the white some, just not as bad. Just taking my time, make sure I've got them pressed down, make sure I've got them nice and straight, and just alternating in the black and white. If I had it to do over again, I would probably make these stripes just a little bit wider. Either use the like a flat rectangular disc for the extrusions, or do 2 snakes of each color. But I'm happy with the way they turned out. I just, you know, we always see something that we would do different, or at least I do. This is a very slow, painstaking process. And don't worry, I won't make you watch all of it in real time. It's just, yeah, this is just a time-consuming process. But I love doing this. You get such, if you take your time and go slow with it, make sure they're nice and straight, get some really neat results with it. It's really, to me, the easiest way to make a stripe sheet. Now you could also do it with your, like your clay just rolled out flat, and then cut it with your blade and alternate the stripes. But me personally, I find it hard to do it that way and to get each stripe straight and even. So this is much, I get much better results doing it this way. I feel like my voice is really froggy today. Maybe it's just the change in weather. It's actually starting to cool off here in Georgia. At least at night anyway. This is the end of October, and it was, I don't know, like 74 degrees the other day. I'm cutting off the ends. There again, trying to keep everything nice and straight. And because of all the burnishing and pressing, this was really, really stuck to my tile. And I was using the wrong blade to try to pick it up. I was using too thick and too rigid of a blade. I should have used a thinner, softer blade, or more flexible blade, I guess. I ran it through the pasta machine. I tried to clean off the stripes a little bit, which didn't really help. Now I had a little wobbly bit right there from where I stopped the pasta machine midway through, and I think that was also where that cut was at, where I cut through it trying to pick it up off the tile. And so I just cut that out so that I wouldn't accidentally use that section. Okay, I have a few, but I generally don't buy donut cutters. I like that look, but I prefer to use, just work with the cutters I have, because then I can put whatever size cutout I want in the middle. I can place it wherever I want to, like if I want it offset or if I want it centered. And I can also make it whatever shape that I want. Like with the round earrings, I used an oval cutout instead of a round cutout. And but the downside of that is that it's very hard to get it perfect, like get that cutout perfect. So I usually take the time to measure. There again, that is very time consuming, and you have to like scoot the cutter literally millimeters at a time to get it in the right spot. But it just depends on what I'm working on. Sometimes I'll just eyeball it, and I usually do okay just eyeballing it. But on something that's what's the word I'm looking for? This special, I guess, of a collection, I wanted to make sure that the cuts were absolutely as perfect as I could get them. Were they perfect? Probably not, but at least I tried, right? So I'm just taking the time to measure them all out. The donut style, or the cutouts, serve two purposes in this. Number one, I just wanted that look, but number two, it was an attempt to make the earrings lighter. I knew that these were probably going to be fairly heavy, and so the cutouts make them a little bit lighter. It may not make a big difference, but it might make a little bit of a difference. And I wish I had rolled the stripes out a little bit thinner, and that would have helped with the weight too. Not that these were like incredibly heavy, but they are a little bit heavier than most polymer clay earrings, and part of that you will see why later, but then part of it is just the roses, the decorations that I put on there. Now, once I use my cutters, I take a sheet of paper and go back and just kind of press down a little bit, because the cutters displace the clay. So you have just a little bit of, I guess, a lip around the edge that raises up. And so I like to press that back down a little bit. Okay, does anybody else love this part? I just find that so satisfying to watch all of that extra clay being removed and the shapes coming out. I love that part. Now I'm on to making color blends. Instead of doing like a traditional Skinner blend, I'm just doing the Cindy Leitz teardrop method. It's a lot quicker. I didn't need these blends to be perfect, so I'm just, just getting them done. This is a different blend, but the reason I'm putting my finger there is because I want these blends very narrow. So as you go through the pasta machine, they're going to get wider and wider. So I put my finger there to stop it from getting wider. That was all of my blends. And the reason I have different ones there is because those are different thicknesses to make the roses different sizes. That's why I had like 3 or 4 different ones of each color. And I've thought about doing like a full tutorial on the roses, and I tried to film it like 3 times and just couldn't. But if any of you are interested in like an actual tutorial on making the roses, just let me know in the comments, and I will I'll try again if enough people are interested. Basically what I'm doing here is like the dark color, I'm using just 1 cutout, the mid color using 2, and then the lightest color using 3, and that gives me my color and size variation, or progression, I guess. This method of making roses is very similar to a nail art technique. This is how nail artists make acrylic roses. Obviously not exactly like this, but very similar. That's where I got the idea from. There are a lot of nail art techniques that transfer to polymer clay. And a lot of the products too. I get a lot of ideas from nail art, or a lot of inspiration, I guess. And here I'm using the Bacon Bond on these because there's really no way to press the petals into each other. It's not like when you're making a rose in your fingers and you can, at the end, you can kind of roll the bottom out and press them all together. We can't really do that here. So I just wanted that little bit of Bacon Bond or liquid clay or whatever, just to give it a little extra security. Okay guys, you see that little, like the light flashing? I don't know what you'd call that, glitches or flash, whatever. Can somebody please tell me why that is happening? I film on my phone. I have a, what is it, a Google 7 Pro. And I bought that phone because, for this purpose, because it had the best camera that I could find at the time. And So that's why I bought this phone. But then that happens when I film with this phone. And I don't know if it's the phone. I don't know if it's the editing app that I use. Because I do everything on my phone. The filming, the editing, everything. And I don't know if I should try a new editing app or what. I don't know. So if you know, if you have any suggestions, please tell me in the comments. Okay, I'm adding my roses to this little pair of earrings. There again, using some adhesive just for some extra security, because there's really no way to press it down into the base. Kind of stuck my needle tool down in the rose trying to press it in a little bit, but I don't know how much that helped. Okay, I didn't like that color leaf, so I'm going to try a mid-green. Didn't like that one either. Now we got the right color. Apparently I didn't like that leaf. Sometimes things are just trial and error. I feel like I could have done a better job on those leaves though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them really. I feel like I could have done a better job. Since making these, I have made my own needle tools, and I felt like I could have done better. Okay, we baked those. Back to the extruder. I'm gonna, this is the same size string as what I made to start with, and I'm going to use this to make a piped edging. Now, some things that I would do different. First of all, on all of the rest of the pieces, other than these two pairs of earrings, I did the backing first and then did the edging. Well, that was not a good idea. It looked very messy on the back. There was there's like a space between the edging and the backing, and I will show you that at the end on some of the earrings that I didn't go back, like some of the way less expensive earrings that I made differently. And I just, because I did that in my free time, because I'm not going to charge my customers for my mistake, so I had to go back and fix those and fill in that gap, and I did that on my own time, so I didn't do it with the really inexpensive earrings. So learn from me. If you're gonna do this edging, do it before you do the backing. The other thing I would do differently, now this worked beautifully on the curved ones, like the round ones and the ovals and things like that, but on the ones that have sharp corners, I wish I hadn't just went around the corner. I wish I had cut each piece and, you know, like at a 45-degree angle and mitered the corners. I think it would have looked a lot nicer, and it would have kept those sharp corners. Also, when you're doing something like this with a cutout, make sure you do the interior first and then do the outside. Yeah, I've made that mistake before. Because you're gonna squish the outside trying to do the inside. So be smarter than me and do the inside first. Another thing, this was my first time using Kato poly paste, and I really like that. And the main reason that I like that is because it cures to a matte finish, and the Sculpting Bacon Bond cures to, I mean, not like a glossy finish, but I guess maybe a satin or like an almost glossy finish. And so if you get it in places that you don't want it, it's going to show up because it's going to be shiny, whereas the poly paste did not do that. Okay, here's the issue with these earrings. Because the flowers are on one side, they don't hang straight. And I knew that was going to be an issue when I designed them that way. But I was like, okay, well, I'll deal with that later. And so now I'm having to deal with that. On the bigger ones, you'll see I did something different. But on these little ones, the only thing I could do was put like a wad of clay between the the base and the backing. That's the only thing I could do, because what I did on the bigger ones would not fit on the smaller ones. And they didn't look too bad. I mean, it wasn't too obvious. And then I put my signature flower there on top of it to try to disguise it a little bit. So it wasn't too bad. I'm taking my needle tool and poking holes in the back of it so the air has somewhere to escape. It's inevitable. You're going to get air in between the layers, or at least I always do. If I poke holes in it, it gives the air somewhere to go. And I had pre-drilled my holes so I could see how they were hanging, or maybe not pre-drilled them, but I drilled them before I did the backing. And it gave me a way to hold it up to see how bad they were hanging to one side. All right, and here come the metal washers. That's the only thing I could think of to balance these out. If you've ever had this issue and you came up with a different way to balance them out, let me know. Now this pair right here is my pair. And they're bigger than the rest of them. They have more flowers. They have more leaves. So I knew this pair was going to be a little bit heavier. So on this pair, I had to use a bigger washer than I did on the others. So mine are fairly heavy. But just to see how heavy they were, I wore them while I was working one night. And I had them on, I don't know, maybe between 8 to 10 hours, I know. And it was fine. There were times that I was like, these are getting a little uncomfortable, but it wasn't that bad. I would go on and forget about it and it would be fine. So, I mean, they are wearable. And I'm just making sure that I get the edges nice. See, this was a whole lot easier doing it this way, putting the piping on first. And you can really see there where that washer is at, because I needed the back to be super thin. There again, to keep the weight down. But what I do there to, again, kind of disguise that a little is put my signature flower there. And then I will, I'll show you an up close look of that, how that looks at the end. I mean, you can see it there, but I still don't think it's that bad. But yeah, like I said, if you've ever had that issue, I would love to know what you did to balance it. Just adding the initial flower. And then we're going to put some leaves on there, finish it off. Some tiny ones. Then I'll do the final bake and it'll be all done. Well, I still have to make the solid black pieces, which I didn't show that. I just made a texture on the black and just cut out my toppers. And of course, assembled them. And then they're done. They're all finished up now. These are the ones that I made on camera. So let's take a closer look. There again, I wish I had, like cut this at a 45-degree angle so that it had a sharper corner on it. Like I said, I had to put the little mound of clay here so that it would hang straight. Even then, I don't think it looks too bad. I mean, I don't think it's that noticeable. The edges look a lot nicer than, say, these. This is what I was talking about, where I put the backing on first and then put this on, and it left this gap that I did not like. So I think these look a lot better. Some of them I went back and filled in that gap afterwards, but they don't look quite as nice in my opinion. You can kind of course, if you didn't know it, you probably, if you weren't just looking for it, you probably wouldn't notice it. There again, these have the little mound of clay. this is my pear. See how nice that edge looks? A lot nicer in my opinion. This has the washer, and yes, you can see it, that it's raised up there, but I still think it looks fairly nice. And this is a different pear that's nowhere near as heavy as mine. There again, I had to go back and fill that in, but it's a smaller washer. It's not as thick and it's not as big around. And there, the detail on those roses. As I said before, I think I could have done a better job on the leaves. And I'm sorry, I know you can hear my baby over there. She's got a rawhide playing with it, and she loves to pick up her food dish and walk around with it and play with it. So yeah, I will. Well, I was going to show you the mate to this one. Okay, so I'll show you all of them now. And there's the texture that I made my solid black pieces. The purple ones. The washer wouldn't fit on these, so we have the little ball there. The yellow ones, which is one of my faves. And some of these I have sold already, so I don't have all of them here. Pink. Didn't back out. Pink. Fuchsia. Now these are ones that I said were a lot less expensive, so I just left the. See how messy it looks, especially right there in the join. There's those, and here's another pair that, you know, they're just cut out little flowers that I sculpted and placed on there. Another little pair in the hoops. And all the hoops have little black beads on them. They're different, but and that's all of them that I have left. Like I said, I've sold some already. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the finished look. And let me know if you decide to recreate this, okay? And I forgot one. The necklace. These are my favorite roses out of all of them. I like the leaves overhang on the edge, which I filled that in a little bit with black clay to give it a little bit more support. And I did the edge. This was the first one that I finished the backing and the edge on, because I did this one before I had made the other pieces to go on the earring, the solid black pieces. So I did this edge differently. I didn't do the extruded string around the edge. I just brought the backing clay up and around, which that's a nice edge, but it's nowhere near as thick as that edging. I think I like this better, but this is nice too, just either way. But yeah, those are my favorite roses. And I like the color variation that goes from the pink to the yellow. And Tracy's digging on my mat that goes under my chair. Oh, that girl. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Okay, thanks. Bye. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now get serious. What was I gonna say? See, I got way off track now. Why is this so hard? Maybe that works. Nope. Oh, this is gonna take forever to edit.